one of my favorite quotes from Jim Rohn. He says, formal education will make you a living. I want you to hear me. Formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. I have a funny feeling that you want to make more than just a living, right? Am I right? I have a funny feeling that you want to make more than just a living. No one... Not saying that those times are all accurate, right? They might be a little bit off. But here's the deal. How are you going to spend those 9 years remaining? That 9 years that's left, how are you going to spend it? I'm advocating to you to spend it to build a pipeline. Bruno was doing, and building the pipeline beside carrying the buckets, right? So he didn't stop carrying the buckets during the day. During the day, he carried the buckets up and down, up and down. But in the evening, in his extra time, what did he do? Work on his pipeline. It took him a couple of years, but eventually he got it finished. And once he finished the pipeline and it's paying him that passive income, he was able to walk away. Jim Rohn, one of my favorite quotes from Jim Rohn, he says, formal education will make you a living. I want you to hear me. Formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. I have a funny feeling that you want to make more than just a living, right? Am I right? I have a funny feeling that you want to make more than just a living. No one left their home country to travel all the way across to this country that has lots of snow and ice and taxes and all of those things just to make a living. We came here for the North American dream. And I'm here to tell you that formal education, I mean school, I mean, college, I mean university, I mean all those things. And we came here, yes, for the dream. We came here for the North American dream, right? We didn't come just to pay the bills. We didn't come just to survive. We didn't come just to make it, just to live, right? We came here to make the dream. We came here to live the dream. And that dream comes from self-education, right? I want to tell you that because formal education, yes, it's going to provide you the skills. It's essential. Formal education is essential. You need it, okay? It's going to provide you the skills. It's going to provide you the knowledge. It's going to provide you what's necessary to make a living. But it's self-education that's going to lead you to that greater financial success and wealth, all right? And you got to take the initiative to learn outside of the structured education environments. That's where the opportunities are going to come from. That's where the greater personal growth is going to come from. The financial growth is going to come from outside of that structured education system. I find it funny, hilarious actually, that's people. And somehow they've convinced people that you can pay, whatever, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 to go to college or university to learn business. From most of the time, what I've seen is the people that are teaching business have never even been in business. I remember when I was studying in my engineering course, there was a class. There was a business class that you could take. And I remember someone raised their hand and they were asking the professor to basically share your experience, right, about business. And the professor had no experience about business. And I seen that people are teaching people how to be business, but they have never done it. They've never done it for themselves. So it's very important to understand that. So I have nothing against formal education. I went to college, all right? I went to university. My wife went to as well, right? So, and I'm going to advocate for my kids that, hey, you guys need to go as well, all right? So I believe in the formal education system for what its purpose is. But people tend to make the mistake that formal education will get you financially independent. People have this in their mind that if I go to take enough college courses or enough university courses, I'll get a great job and eventually I'll become financially independent. But like Jim Rohn says, formal education, meaning college and universities, They teach people how to carry buckets, right? They teach people how to carry buckets. So when people need more money, what do they go do? When people want more money, traditionally, someone says they need more income. What do? They go and carry more buckets. They either get a bigger bucket or they carry more buckets, meaning they get a second job or a third job. You know, I was talking to someone earlier today, has 3 jobs, right? So they're carrying multiple buckets. Or they go back to school, to bucket carrying school, right? They go back to bucket carrying school to learn how to carry more buckets. And this is the thing that a lot of people bought into, this idea that if they can just get more degrees, it's going to make them financially independent, right? They're just learning how to carry more buckets. Now, I want to show you this illustration here, because at the end of the day, time, people are trading time for money. So I want to show you this concept. When you're trading time for money, how you ought to look at it. So let's say you live, I don't know how long you're going to live, but let's say the person lives 78 years. All right, people are living longer than that. This is just the illustration that I was able to put together for you. But people, let's say people are living 78 years, just for an example, okay? How much time do we actually have? Pay attention to this. How much time do we actually have? You're going to spend 1/3 of your life sleeping. Yep. You're going to spend 1/3 of your life sleeping, maybe more, but 28.8 years out of that 78 years is going to go towards sleeping, right? Another 10.5 years is going to go towards working, career, whatever job that the person has, right? Lawyer, doctor, dentist, working in real estate, engineer, whatever the case is, right? They're going to spend 10.5 years doing that. Then they're going to spend another 1.3 years commuting, right? If you add up the half an hour here, the 20 minutes here, the hour there, over the course of their working years, they'll spend 1.3 years commuting back and forth, all right? They'll spend another 1.5 years raising their kids, growing their kids, all right, in childcare. They'll spend another 2.5 years shopping, all right? They'll spend another 2.5 years grooming themselves, going to the barber, this kind of stuff, going to the hair salon, the hairdresser, that kind of stuff, right? They'll spend another 3.5 years getting an education, okay? They'll spend another 4 years on food, eating, okay, consuming food. They'll spend another 6 years doing chores, all right? They'll spend another 9 years doing what? Watching TV, video games, social network, social media, all this kind of stuff. So how much time is left? Another 9 years. And I guess my question to you is, not saying that those times are all accurate, right? They might be a little bit off. But here's the deal. How are you going to spend those 9 years remaining? That 9 years that's left, how are you going to spend it? I'm advocating to you to spend it to build a pipeline. My whole purpose, my whole plea to you is to spend those 9 years, those extra hours every single day, right, that add up to 9 years over a period of the person's lifetime. I'm pleading to you, okay? I'm pleading to you, I'm advocating to you to spend it to build a pipeline, all right? So start building your pipeline now. Start building your pipeline now. You got to make a decision. First of all, it's a decision, all right? That's the first step. In doing anything, it's deciding. It's deciding. I remember Tony Robbins was doing I was at one of his seminars years ago, and he said, decision comes from a root word. It means to cut, right? So when you decide, it means you cut off all other answers. You made a decision. It's you burn the bridges, you burn the boats, right? There's that story about that army general that he took the army to go and take over an island, right? So he brought his army there, and they're standing on the beach, right? And he instructed one of his lead commanders to go and burn the boats that him and the soldiers just came on. He said, go burn them. And the guy's like, what do you mean burn them? How are we going to get back? And the general says, we're going to take the enemy's boats. All right. He decided that we're going to win. All right. And they won, and they did conquer the island, and they did take the enemy's boats, and that's how they return home. So what I'm saying to you is you got to make a decision and cut off all other outcomes. The minute your mind is like, I'll see, maybe it will, maybe it won't, you haven't truly yet made a decision. And by the way, decisions happen like this. Decisions don't take a lot of time. Regardless of what people say, it doesn't take a lot of time to make a decision. A decision happens instantly. What takes time is you making up your mind to make a decision, right? So that might take time, but the decision itself doesn't take time. It's an instantaneous thing. So step number one is to make a decision. You got to commit and plant your flag. When I say commit and plant your flag, what do I mean? You go all in. When I say go all in, I don't mean you cut off if you're working a full-time job and you want to all of a sudden build your pipeline. I don't mean you stop doing what you're doing and jump in full time. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you got to commit and plant your flag like what Pablo was doing or Bruno was doing, and building the pipeline beside carrying the buckets, right? So he didn't stop carrying the buckets during the day. During the day, he carried the buckets up and down, up and down. But in the evening, in his extra time, what did he do? Work on his pipeline. It took him a couple of years, but eventually he got it finished. And once he finished the pipeline and it's paying him that passive income, he was able to walk away from carrying the buckets back and forth. Right? So you got to commit. You got to plant your flag. You got to get a license. If you're in our industry and you want to win here, you got to get your license. You got to get that as fast as you can. You got to get that out of the way, because that is where the income comes from, right? From your license. And you got to build an agency. That's the pipeline, right? Building an agency. You got to get out there and help families. That's what we do here. We help families. All right. We help families get them back on the path of financial independence. We teach them how money works. And that's what we do. That's what we do. But listen, I know that a commitment can be challenging. I know that. We all know that making a commitment can be challenging. It requires us to stick to something through thick and thin. Right? That's the scary part. That's the scary part. But it's something that can bring us great rewards and help us to achieve our goals. So it doesn't matter if it's a relationship. It doesn't matter if it's a career. It doesn't matter if it's a personal project. It doesn't matter if it's your business. We know that it's important that we got to see things through. We have to see things through. And it's not always easy, but it's essential. It is essential. Nobody promised that becoming financially independent was going to be easy. No one said it's going to be easy. What we do say, it's worth it. It's worth it. And it's very essential, this idea of commitment and sticking to something, if we want to grow and if we want to succeed, right? Imagine you plant a seed and, halfway through the seed doesn't commit, right? It doesn't commit to growing. What happens to the tree? It dies, right? It has to commit. It has to commit. I understand that committing to something is scary and it can be tempting to give up, especially when things get tough. I get all of that. I get all of that. But the thing is, I want to remind you that you have the strength and you have the resilience to keep going. I want to remind you that you ought to believe in yourself. You ought to trust that the work that you're putting in now is going to pay off in the end. Napoleon Hill says, begin with the end in mind. You got to see that end in mind. And remember that commitment isn't just about achieving success or getting success. It's also about learning. You're going to learn a heck of a lot on the way. You're going to grow personally a heck of a lot on the way. When we commit to something, what are we doing? We're making a promise to ourselves to do our best and to push ourselves to do better. So I want you to embrace this idea of commitment with an open mind, with an open heart. And I want you to remember, it's not always going to be easy. Repeat after me. It's not always going to be easy. That's okay. That's okay. That's part of the journey, right? That's part of the journey. So I'm going to challenge you to keep pushing yourselves. Keep pushing yourselves forward and be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, right? And you're going to celebrate your successes along the way. You keep celebrating those successes, the little successes, the big successes, you keep celebrating them along the way. But I'm here to tell you, it's time that you believe in yourself. It's time that you believe in your vision. It's your vision. It's your goal. Your goal is financial independence, not your neighbor, not your parents, not your spouse. It's your goal. So you ought to believe in it. And your belief will attract other people like a magnet to believe in what you believe in. You can't get people to believe in something you don't yet believe in. Many people, they want people to believe first and then they all of a sudden go do it. It doesn't work like that. You believe first and then people believe, right? That's how you attract belief. That's what leaders do. And you're a leader. You're a leader. Believe in yourself. All right. Believe in yourself. I believe in you. All right. With that said, I just want to tell you, enjoy the rest of your family day. Well, now it's family night, right? Enjoy the rest of your family night. We're finished for today. God bless you. Have yourself a great night. And it has been my honor to be talking to you tonight. It has been my pleasure. And if tonight is your first night, we welcome you. We appreciate you taking the time to be here. And as always, we're here every single Monday at 8:00 p.m. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next Monday at 8:00 p.m. Bring a friend. God bless you. Have yourself a great night.